All right, it is TexAgs Rewind, holiday edition. Got my friend, the TexAgs subscriber that fought with us earlier. He's now skeleton. Billy.
Who fought with you?
I don't know. I'm just making a fake story up. Because Obi opened up the show as me saying, "You want to say it in my face?" Well, this is the guy who said it to my face.
So you're saying something that didn't happen.
Yeah,
so you're kind of continuing the Tom Hart theme, I guess.
Guys, take a good hard look. Olin, look in that mirror with the light on and take a good hard look at Olin. I think with those brows and that hair, I'm getting very strong David Schwimmer vibes. Like Ross Geller has graced us with his presence.
And I hated that character.
I did too.
He's such a whiny
He's
little
a wimp.
Whiny little.
Like something that Lane Kiffin could call him.
Yeah. But I think you look like him right now, to be honest. And
I think I look like one of the Pep Boys, if not
the auto parts guys.
Yeah, Manny, Mo, and Jack.
Is that?
I don't know which one is Manny, Mo, or Jack. But
did you dye that beard too?
Yeah, Irma did it all.
I think, God dang it, I think he should walk into the press conference minus the shirt, just to fluster Jimbo to the point where they're walking out of there today going like, "Hey, did you guys see Olin? Like, how weird was that?"
We got out the Grecian formula trying to get young again.
This whole eyebrow thing makes me think I got to go clip my eyebrows.
Yeah, he's dressed up as you.
I got to do something about it. All right. On the show, we did the Go Hour. You kind of hear how he introed the show. We had Buzz Williams on the program. That was good to talk with Buzz as they have their first exhibition this Friday. Tom Hart, OB already told you his thoughts on that. Billy Liucci on the quarterback. And can you say to everybody, "Estamos aquí en TexAgs Rewind"?
Estamos aquí en TexAgs Rewind. I don't know what. I just got the key part.
Irma would be disgusted.
You would think after 20 years of living with a Hispanic woman, I would pick up more Spanish, but I have not.
It didn't happen. All right, take a look.
The strategy here is let's come out with 3 linemen.
Right.
And you saw what Ole Miss did. Boom, 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 right down the field, touchdown. Okay, you adjusted. But in what did you ever see that made you think that would be a good idea?
Nothing.
And yet they came out with it anyway.
We all knew.
And then they were getting gashed. And a lot of the game, in my delusional, they were playing just one linebacker a lot of the game. Now I know the linebacker's not great, but when you're running at will, don't you try to put 2 linebackers out there at least instead of more defensive backs?
You on several occasions called what was about to happen because the tendencies of this team, but also I think there was one point, and Liucci and I talked about it on the Luchador yesterday. It was a 3rd and 19, and you knew they were going to run the ball, and maybe it was 2nd and 19, excuse me, and they picked up 17 yards.
Yeah,
made it an easy, it was just, and by running.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you can run the football, and this through all the evolution of offenses and the spread and wide open, when you can run the football, you win. Because if you're throwing it, maybe the ball will get tipped, maybe somebody will drop a pass. All these things that but when you just line up and I'm taking it to you, and there's nothing you can do about it, you're going to win.
You are going to win. And Ole Miss came to Kyle Field and played an A&M brand of football on A&M. Like when I think about A&M, and I even think about like Jimbo with Kellen days, that was about running the ball down your throat when you needed to. And then A&M got away from that in the second half. By the way, the offense looked really good in the first and fourth quarter, but there was a little sandwich period where they weren't getting anything.
Well, I'm sure, since I just popped off and I'm not a defensive coordinator and I don't know, and I'll freely admit, I don't know as much football. When I played football, all we ever did was run, and we had 5-man fronts in high school, and I wasn't good enough to play beyond that. But so they can say, Olin, here, you don't know what, we have. You don't know what the tendencies are of the other team. You don't know this. You don't know that. You don't know this, and you don't know why we'd put out a 3-man front, and you don't know why we'd play one line. And you're saying, you know what? You're right. I don't. But let me tell you what I do know. I do know that Ole Miss ran for 390 yards, the most in 20 years on a Texas A&M team. I do know that when you had momentum, Ole Miss just turned around and handed the ball off and got a 65-yard run. I do know that when you're looking at 3rd and 11 with a guy in the when they're backed up on their own 5-yard line.
When I thought they were going to get safety.
And the quarterback is in the end zone, and a quarterback that everybody knows can run, and there's no spy on him, and he, instead of a safety, because there's no spy, he runs for a first down, and then they go on and score. Those are the things I do know.
That's the same drive where all the
two pass interference and then the face mask. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way,
but get a stop there.
Different game.
On 3rd and 11, not only do they not drive for that touchdown, and you don't get those penalties, but they're punting, and you have the ball in really good field position.
Buzz, what can you tell me about the scrimmage this weekend? I got some feedback from those close saying the very nice showing from the front court.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the NCAA rules anymore. I was suspended for 2 games last year for things that doesn't seem to matter at other programs, and this is supposed to be secretive. And then yesterday I'm getting tweets published from the institution we played against, and there's pictures of our team and pictures of me. So I'm like, well, I thought it was supposed to be secret, but I don't want to get in trouble with the NCAA, whoever they are in 2022. But we did have some front court prowess, if I'm not being secret, that was encouraging.
Okay.
We have some versatility in our forward spots. We've got to kind of figure that out on how to utilize those guys, who goes well together, who can play together offensively, which 2 guys can play together offensively and defensively. And we were able to do that against a really good opponent on Saturday. So there was a lot of encouraging things. We turned the ball over at too high of a rate. I think that was probably, if there was one thing that you could say on what was a negative, we turned the ball over at too high of a rate. But the connection and the camaraderie and the chemistry and the synergy and the effort in which all of those guys played with for it to still be October was really, really good.
Buzz, I'm excited about this non-conference schedule you guys have coming up. I mean, we know how rough the SEC is and it gets tougher. It feels like every year. But when I look at the non-conference, it's so much opportunity there, and it's tough as well. When you're doing a college basketball scheduling is so interesting to me, because when you're putting it together, do you have the type team you have in mind, or are you just trying to get the best schedule you can get?
A few things. Number one, up until this year, the SEC had a rule that the non-conference schedule had to average out to a net 150.
Okay.
After my long diatribe at the end of last season, we had our non-conference games already scheduled.
The rest of the country, and including the A&M fan base, is the first time we really got to see Connor Weigman in maroon and white with a week as a starter. And what'd you think of him? Because he did something that, believe it or not, had not been done since Johnny Manziel, which is 330 yards, 4 touchdowns without an interception.
I thought he made a lot of really good decisions. I thought he took some hits. The hit that he took before the last touchdown was a real one. And honestly, I didn't know if he was going to be able to stay in the game at that point. And I don't know if anybody has had the chance to ask post game, but it looked like he really got his bell rung pretty good.
Yeah.
There were times where the offense got a little stagnant, and that's been the case over the course of the season.
Mm-hmm.
But when they're in a 2-minute offense, or what looks like a 2-minute offense, and he was just able to, stand tall and deliver the ball on time, he was able to do so, and he looked really good. And, when you've got a guy like Moose Muhammad, what a weapon, a guy that just knows how to get open and generally comes down with the ball. Evan Stewart had some huge catches for him. So I thought he looked really good. He looked much better than I expected over the course of the entire game. The question is, how can you raise the level of play like the second and third quarter? How do you get that up to where he was in the first and fourth quarter? and do that more regularly. And maybe it was the tempo. I mean, that's one thing Jordan pointed out during the game. Like, he seemed very comfortable in the tempo. Maybe it was a limited menu, so to speak, from a play calling standpoint. So he had more confidence in where he was going with the ball. I don't know. You know, you got the remainder of the season is what it is. He'll have an opportunity for incredible growth between now and the end of the season. So that's a great sign for A&M.
You're thrown into the fire there. A&M could not afford to really run Connor as much as I think you will be able to do in the future, but he could do that too. And you're down to only one quarterback essentially right now. So, but he can do it all is what I'm getting at, and he can beat defenses so many ways. And even without that true running threat yet, he did more with his arm than we've seen any quarterback do at A&M in a while. I mean, Kellen had a really good senior year. Kellen had that game against Clemson, his sophomore season. But what Connor did was some stuff we haven't seen in a long time around here. And that's just, so decisive. And getting rid of the football, that release is so quick. And the accuracy with which he threw most of those passes, like I said, even that last one, the incompletion was a beautiful throw. Yeah, wasn't there. I think it was on the money. And just he raised up the whole deal, the energy level, the execution. I would have liked to have seen them run, I don't know, 50 passes. I know that number gets skewed late in the game when you're down 2 scores, like the last 9 minutes or 10 minutes or so. But I would have rather have seen a lot more of A-Chain in the second half because I thought it worked so well in the first. And obviously Ole Miss adjusted. Makes me kind of wonder why A&M couldn't have adjusted to what they were doing in the running back position and with the QB run game. But
all right, that's going to do it for TexAgs Rewind. In a Spanish accent, OB, tell us what we need to do.
Don't do it in a Batman accent.
Yeah, do it in a Batman. Sorry.
Well, what I like? Like us on TexAgs.
No,
what? I don't know.
Batman, not Spanish Batman. Batman.
Like us on TexAgs.
No,
and watch us on, what?
Do it.
Yeah, I don't know what you
like, comment, subscribe.
Oh, like, comment, and subscribe.
Never mind.
It's over.
It's over.